I imagine this answer will be pretty common. Obviously, the biggest challenge has been the COVID health pandemic. We are fortunate in some ways that we're a pure play online retailer, and it's been widely reported that e-commerce has seen an increase in volume, which we have experienced. However, it hasn't been without its challenges. We obviously needed to do the right thing from a health perspective of our team and our customers. Fortunately, a lot of people like myself can work from home. We've got some very important business critical departments though that we had to create pretty complex plans around, like our outbound warehousing facility and our photo studio that shoots new product coming into the business. So we had to work with those teams on A and B shifts to make sure that there was protection in case there was an infection within those teams. We've been fortunate that there hasn't been. Another area that we had to resource up was our customer service team. The customer experience was compromised through the peak of the pandemic, as most people would know. The parcel network in Australia and New Zealand obviously experienced significant delays. Within that caused issues for our customer experience. We saw a really big increase in customer inquiries through the customer service team. And whilst some of those things were out of our control, I think a customer relationship is like any relationship. It's all about communication. So we had to be quite agile and on the front foot in communicating with our customers, both pre-purchase and post-purchase. We made sure that we were communicating with them regularly about the delays and the issues that were, being caused by COVID, and also making up for the delays with some make good. So we had some significant retention initiatives through that period. We saw a lot of new customers come to our business. We had a fairly complex retention program that's still going right now to make sure that even though that first experience might have not been in line with what we would like ordinarily, we made up for that after the fact and encouraging those people back for a second experience with us.
It's no secret that we are now in unprecedented times. We have seen the world come to a grinding halt, and I believe that the fashion industry has been very strongly affected. I think in the area of priority, fashion sort of drops when the world finds itself in a very serious situation. So I think as a company, locally, regionally and globally, we will have to say that is the biggest challenge, and also the initiatives around trying to maintain a business, trying to keep cash flow, trying to keep people paid, trying to negotiate rents, looking at every asset of the business and every facet of the business to ensure that we can continue would have to be the biggest challenge we've ever faced. As a company, we've never seen zero revenue, and we are on a daily basis confronting new changes. Now, coming out of this, we will see a lot of changes in the retail business, in the fashion industry.
There are so many areas of change and opportunity and shift in this sort of post-COVID world when you think about fashion and retail. I think one of the key areas is what's the role of the store. So, we're seeing a radically acceleration of the in-store omni-channel integration. So those retailers that are heavily investing in a genuinely seamless experience between offline and online, and creating this sort of compelling reason as to why consumers should go back into store. So we're seeing the rise of contactless interactions in store, change room booking, so the ability to book a change room, and this sense of how do I obtain stock in store, so this sort of click and collect but a curbside collect. I think all of these things are going to be really table stakes for retailers. And then the next layer on top of that is how do we allow the in-store teams access to consumer data to enable a genuinely personalised experience. So how do you know when I enter into a retailer what I've got in my wish list? So that you can then provide me instantly in store with what's in my wish list. And I think when we think through the Gen Z, they are the first generation to genuinely blur the lines between social search, and they're also the ones that love the in-store experience. So rethinking in-store in terms of a personalised and hyper-connected experience will be critical.
With the current situation, I see appointment-style shopping both in-store and via video gaining a lot of traction both short-term and going forward. The next evolution of these platforms will be to move away from basic booking systems to integrated platforms that provide clienteling capabilities, contextual commerce, and full automation, such as the platform we have implemented. The biggest initiative we've delivered this year has been an integrated stylist appointment booking platform that allows customers to either book a styling appointment in one of our stores or an appointment with one of our stylists via video. We started working on this project in January as we saw the need to offer more personalised shopping experiences for our customers and really bridge the gap between online and in-store. The biggest challenge of this project has been to provide an end-to-end platform that automates each step of the process that was both easy and intuitive for our customers and streamlined for a team of stylists. We spent a lot of time researching and evaluating different platforms until we found the right partner in the team from Browse. And together, we worked to innovate and provide a great customer experience. We didn't just want to have a platform with manual processes that didn't integrate with our existing unified commerce platform. And it was also critical to integrate the AI recommendation engine that we use from Amasis.
Our biggest initiative this year is probably the development of our shopping app. It's a project which is still in process. What it involves, we're working with a platform called Pop Commerce, so we're not building the app from the ground up, which is a big resource benefit for us. And we're working with a implementation partner called Trizons to help us build the app. Even though we're not building the app from the ground up, there's still a lot of input from multiple stakeholders within the business as we spec out design and functionality. So it's a very big scoping project. It's important for us to have an app live this year. We're really excited because it's going to be a step forward for our customer experience. And from a commercial perspective, there's a lot of benefits. Apps are proven to bring high frequency and high conversion to your business. And we know that our customers are of the demographic that would happily engage with an app. So yeah, that's our biggest project this year. It's still in process, but it's looking good for launch pre-peak and we're excited.
As far as the key growth areas and emerging trends, we see, of course, that the rise of e-commerce has even jumped a couple of steps further or progressed in a much quicker way than we initially thought. So e-commerce for us, at least in Australia, is still, we are definitely behind, but we will be launching a special program called Global E starting in July. So we're very, very excited about that. We've seen our e-commerce business with the likes of David Jones increase exponentially during the closure of our retail stores. I think the next biggest issue to consider are the way that we run our retail stores and the network of retail stores, what is necessary in a post-COVID-19 world. So at this point in time, I'm sure you can imagine there's lots of negotiations going on with landlords. And then we're having a very hard look at how many stores are actually necessary in this new world. So I think it's consolidating the retail network. It's picking up the pace with the e-commerce aspects of the business. And a further area would be really around the customization of our approach to our customers. It's not a one-fits-all blanket approach. We've had the time to really dive in and understand what our customers want, particularly the top tiers of our customer network, and consider different ways and personalized ways to engage with our customers and I suppose to surprise and delight them, because I think people will be wary about going into stores. People will be a little concerned about buying what they see as non-necessary purchases. So just remaining in contact with our customers and understanding their needs and wants will put us in a good position coming out of this.
Afterpay is all about connecting our now millions of customers with our retail partners. This is the vision of the business when it was founded 5 years ago and remains the core of what we do today. So a key project this year has been to amplify and facilitate that connection through cross-border. Firstly, with the two markets of Australia and New Zealand, and we will look to expand into other geographies throughout the year. So what this means practically is that retailers do not need separate e-commerce sites in each country to access the Afterpay network. So an Afterpay New Zealand consumer can purchase on an Australian retailer's site, pay in New Zealand dollars, and then the retailer is settled in Australian dollars. So this has been hugely popular. We're seeing thousands and thousands of customers every week connect with retailers, both large and small, that they otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And it's a further way that Afterpay is helping retailers grow internationally and expand their business.
I'm not a fashion forecaster by any means. I'm a marketing and e-commerce professional. But from what I see in our business, and it's another thing I've spoken about before, that it's a lot harder for fashion brands in this day and age to resonate and cut through. And I think we've seen the death of the vibe clip is something that I like to speak about internally, because brands need to tell more compelling stories for people to want to engage with them in fashion. Compelling stories that I see every day in the 300 plus brands that we range are definitely around sustainability. It's obviously an emerging trend and something that's becoming more important to the consumer. A lot of collaborations and exclusives. So, you know, that we put a lot of effort and money behind brands that have got strong collaboration stories, whether that be with another brand or an individual. And then also exclusive distribution. So that's important for us as a retailer to gain as many of those as possible, which we're fortunately having some success with in 2020. So yeah, I think, you know, that's my read on some of the biggest future shift to fashion is that brands need to work harder. It's not just about nailing an aesthetic and, you know, continuing to produce ranges 4 seasons a year. It's more about compelling stories, and having a compelling story for your brand is what's going to make it cut through.
While customers will continue to shop in a traditional sense in stores, there'll be a greater shift to online. Consumer behaviour's rapidly changed over the last few months, and I don't see this changing. As a result, brands and businesses, we need to adapt to allow customers to shop via more touch points than ever before, and I see this trend of appointment-based shopping continuing to evolve moving forward.
So we talked about the customization of approach to our customers. You know, our top tier customers will remain more and more important to us for a considerable period of time. We know that tourism will have come to almost a grinding halt, we assume, until probably the middle of next year, could even go on longer. If we talk about it purely from a fashion or a garment area, there's no denying the increased focus on the casualization, being able to be relaxed, working from home. But what does that mean for the future? And will people continue to work from home? I feel that people will be buying clothes less out of need and more out of want. Now, of course, that is the fashion industry's way, but it won't be that a guy needs a suit anymore. It's that he wants to buy a suit and he wants to wear it because it makes him feel good, rather than I have to wear it to work. I also think that although we see very strong growth in athleisure, so everything from, you know, track wear, wear at home, sweatshoods, this is growing at a huge rate. I have a feeling that because of all the postponements of events, occasions, that we will see a bounce back in the area of formal wear, but maybe the focus on formal wear as a need for work will shift and definitely go into a more of an occasion wear kind of scenario. So I suppose the more we get to understand what's going on with COVID-19, how much more we can relax the social distancing or allow groups, I think we'll see quite an upswing in events for the second half of this year and into the first half and all of next year. So it's something positive. I like to say that there's always positives that come out of negative. I've seen the way the team's working in a different environment. This is a very positive outcome. It shows that we can do it. We've sped up the processes. We've really had to look at all of the initiatives that we're investing in and make some very quick decisions. So, we are confident we can come out of this, but there's no doubt this has been the most difficult, most trying period for this company, for the fashion industry, and personally as well.
I've spoken before about the importance of unpaid traffic, especially to an e-commerce business like ours. Unpaid traffic has a significant impact on the profitability of an e-commerce business, and whilst we, like many other businesses, have been pretty reliant on paid traffic through Google and Facebook channels in the past, the big growth area for us is in generating more unpaid traffic, and it's an emerging trend for our business. We're seeing success in areas like partnership, more traditional channels like PR and traditional media, and also refocusing on our brand. Brand was another area that was important to us through the COVID pandemic, and it continues to be. We found that it's important to make sure that your brand is relevant and the awareness is there of your offering without being seen to be, I guess, cashing in on the pandemic. We had a few brand moments throughout that period which were tongue-in-cheek without poking fun, and made sure that our brand was kept relevant. So those sort of unpaid channels has been a focus for us, and definitely an emerging trend. Another one which is a buzzword is data-driven personalization. It's a buzzword that I've heard in my career for the last 10 years, but just as of this year, I'm starting to see some really exciting executions of data-driven personalization, providing real benefits to our customers and real material changes to key metrics for our business. That's across our web platform and also our marketing channels within email, for instance. We've got new technology in the business, which is gathering more data on our customers and changing offerings in real time, whether it be whilst they're shopping or after the fact. And that's a big emerging trend for us. We're fortunate as a pure player that we've got a lot of data. We're focusing on cleaning it up, using some third-party tools so we can interrogate it better, and then using more additional third-party tools to leverage that data. So that's definitely an emerging trend. Has been a buzzword for 10 years, but I feel like in 2020, it's coming to reality. And definitely that is the case in our business.
I think the next emerging trend is really an amplification of one that we're seeing already, and that is the rise of the conscious consumer and what has been called purposeful retailing. What we've seen during COVID is that consumers are really returning back to their roots, looking at their local communities, how they can be part of that community and support it. And people are wanting that sort of bespoke artisan products. And this will be absolutely driven by Gen Z, who in particular, all the research will tell you are prepared to pay more for environmentally friendly products, and also have an expectation that brands and retailers will be part of the community and do more for the community. And we've seen retailers respond in kind. So we've seen Q, who then were doing the manufacturing of masks and protective clothing for all the hospital workers, and then we're seeing the rise of brands like Thread Together. So Afterpay is very pleased to be partnering with Thread Together, where customers can donate $1 from every transaction to Thread Together, and Afterpay has given a minimum $200,000 commitment. So I think this sense of purpose, community and connectivity will be a key emerging trend for the next 12 months.